Have you ever wondered how a shared history led to one of the most complex geopolitical disputes of our time? In the heart of South Asia, two nations, India and Pakistan, have been embroiled in a conflict that has spanned over 7 decades. The genesis of this conflict can be traced back to their shared history under British colonial rule. Towards the twilight of the British Raj, a sense of nationalism was growing among the subcontinent's inhabitants. However, the seeds of divisiveness were sown as two distinct nationalistic sentiments emerged. On one hand, there was the Indian National Congress advocating for a unified India. On the other, the All India Muslim League, spearheaded by Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who envisioned a separate nation for the Muslims of India. The year 1947 marked a significant turn of events. The British, succumbing to the rising tide of Indian independence movements and internal pressures, decided to leave the subcontinent. However, their departure was not without a dramatic finale: the partition of British India. The partition led to the creation of two separate dominions, India and Pakistan. But the process was far from smooth. The hastily drawn borders by the British ignited a firestorm of violence and chaos. Communities that had once lived side by side were now pitted against one another, resulting in one of the largest mass migrations in human history. In the midst of this turmoil, the princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, with its Muslim majority population and Hindu ruler, became a bone of contention between the newborn nations, setting the stage for the first of many conflicts to come. Despite the shared cultural, historical, and social fabric, the path towards separate nationhood was stained with blood, leaving a deep scar on the psyche of both nations. The partition not only divided the land but also the hearts of millions, sowing seeds of mistrust and hostility. The seeds of the conflict were sown, and the stage was set for a dispute that would span decades. Borders define nations. But what happens when the lines blur? The question becomes all too real when we delve into the formation of the line of control between India and Pakistan. The seeds of this contentious line were sown in the aftermath of the Indo-Pak War of 1947 to 48. The war was the first major military standoff between the newly independent nations, and it left the region of Kashmir in a state of uncertainty. The United Nations stepped in, mediating the conflict and orchestrating a ceasefire. This led to the establishment of a temporary boundary known as the Line of Control. Originally intended as a short-term solution, the line of control was drawn along the ceasefire line, cutting through the heart of Kashmir. However, as the diplomatic efforts for a permanent resolution dragged on, the line gradually solidified into a de facto border. This in turn became the first major point of contention between India and Pakistan. This line, stretching over 740 kilometers, is no ordinary border. It's a heavily militarized zone, with troops from both nations stationed along its length. Despite numerous attempts at peace talks and negotiations, the line of control remains a flashpoint, with frequent skirmishes and ceasefire violations. The irony lies in its name, the line of control. In reality, it has been anything but controlled. It has become a symbol of the ongoing dispute, a physical manifestation of the unresolved issues between India and Pakistan. It's a stark reminder of the past and a persistent challenge for the future. The line of control is more than just a geographical demarcation. It's a historical and political marker, a testament to the complex and tumultuous relationship between two nations that were once one. It's a line that has witnessed decades of conflict and tension, and yet it stands as divisive and contentious as ever. The line of control, ironically, became a symbol of uncontrolled tensions. It's a line that has defined the past and continues to shape the future of Indo-Pak relations. And as we move forward, the question remains, can this line ever truly be controlled? Can there ever be a lasting peace between these nuclear neighbors? Can war ever resolve disputes, or does it only breed more conflict? This question echoes in the silence that follows the clamor of battle, a silence that has been shattered too many times in the India-Pakistan dispute. Let's take a step back to the year 1965. The war that year was triggered by territorial disputes and political tensions, and it ended in a stalemate, with both sides claiming victory. However, the bitterness of this conflict only served to deepen the divide between the two nations. Fast forward to 1971, a year that marked the birth of a new nation, Bangladesh. This war, sparked by the struggle of East Pakistan for independence, ended with a decisive victory for India and the creation of Bangladesh. Yet, the triumph of this war did not bring peace. Instead, it added another layer of complexity to the Indo-Pak relationship. Then came the Kargil War in 1999, a war that took place in the icy heights of the Himalayas. This conflict, triggered by infiltration and territorial claims, ended with India reclaiming the heights. Yet again, the victory did not seal the rift between the two nations. It only served to intensify the animosity. Each war, whether it ended in a victory, a defeat, or a stalemate, has only added fuel to the fire of this dispute. Each conflict has left a trail of devastation, not just in terms of lives lost and infrastructure destroyed, but also in terms of the trust that was shattered and the relationships that were broken. In the wake of these wars, the two nations have found themselves locked in an endless cycle of conflict, with peace appearing as an elusive dream. The wars have not resolved the dispute. They have only made it more volatile, more complex, more difficult to untangle. Wars came and went, but the root of the conflict remained untouched. What happens when two warring neighbors become nuclear powers? As we delve into this question, we enter a new era in the India-Pakistan dispute, the age of nuclearization. In the late 20th century, both India and Pakistan entered the nuclear arena, a move that significantly altered the dynamics of their long-standing dispute. India conducted its first nuclear test in the year 1974, stepping onto the global nuclear stage. Pakistan, feeling threatened, responded in kind, and by 1998, it too had become a nuclear state. This nuclearization introduced a new chilling dimension to the dispute. Suddenly, the stakes were far higher than territorial claims or political disagreements. Now, any potential conflict carried the risk of escalating into a nuclear war, with catastrophic consequences not only for the two countries but for the entire world. This nuclear capability has been a double-edged sword. On one hand, it has acted as a deterrent, making both sides think twice before escalating conflicts. The threat of mutual destruction has, in a way, enforced a precarious balance of power. However, on the other hand, it has also heightened tension and instability in the region. The fear of one side gaining an upper hand in nuclear capability has led to an arms race, with both countries continually striving to enhance their nuclear arsenals. The presence of nuclear weapons has also influenced the diplomatic aspects of the India-Pakistan dispute. It's thrown into sharp relief the urgent need for peace and negotiation, for the alternative is too grim to contemplate. These nuclear powers have drawn global attention, with international bodies like the United Nations stepping in to mediate and prevent escalations. In conclusion, the nuclearization of India and Pakistan has added a dangerous edge to their dispute. It's drastically escalated the potential consequences of conflict and underscored the critical need for peaceful resolution. The shadow of nuclear weapons loomed large, adding a dangerous edge to the dispute. Can there ever be a peaceful resolution to the India-Pakistan dispute? This question has been posed countless times, and the answer remains elusive. Over the years, there have been several attempts at peace initiatives and dialogues. From the Shimla Agreement in 1972 to the Agra Summit in 2001, both nations have made efforts to resolve their differences. However, these efforts have often been thwarted by political instability, cross-border tensions, and a history of mistrust. International mediation has played a significant role in these dialogues. The United Nations, for example, has been involved since the dispute's inception, attempting to broker a peaceful resolution. However, the effectiveness of such mediation is debatable. On one hand, it brings much-needed international attention to the issue. On the other hand, it often complicates matters, as it involves navigating a labyrinth of international politics and vested interests. The challenges to a peaceful resolution are many. For starters, the issue is not just a territorial dispute, it's intricately linked to national identities, religious sentiments, and historical narratives. This makes it a highly emotional issue for both nations, complicating any attempt at a rational, mutually beneficial resolution. Furthermore, the dispute is deeply entrenched in the political landscapes of both nations. It's often used as a rallying point during elections, and any government seeking to resolve the issue must grapple with the potential political fallout. However, despite these challenges, the prospect for a peaceful resolution endures. There's a growing recognition that a military solution is neither feasible nor desirable. More and more, people on both sides of the border are expressing a desire for peace. They're weary of the constant tension and the toll it takes on their lives. Moreover, there's an increasing realization that the resources spent on this dispute could be better used elsewhere. Both nations face pressing issues like poverty, unemployment, and climate change. Resolving the dispute could free up significant resources to tackle these challenges. So can there ever be a peaceful resolution? It's a difficult question with no easy answers. The path to peace is fraught with challenges, but the hope for a resolution endures. Do like, share, and subscribe our channel for